morning. I'm here to show you a flip through of this ginormous book. Should we measure it? About 2 1/4 across the spine. Wrong ruler. And 9 by 6. So in many ways, this is typical Nancy, but there's some differences in how I finished this journal off. So it's an older book, 1910. I did add lots of lace, which is typical, and let's get started. Now the first thing I'm going to show you is that I did not put fabric as my inside cover. And that's because this book is already very full and I didn't want to use fabric and absorb more space. So I used some Tim Holtz paper, front and back. And the blue that's in here is meant to blend with this blue and white ticking that I used to sew the signature to. So this is a hidden hollowback spine. There's 13 signatures. Let's get started. So this is the title page, and it was kind of a boring title page. So I used some images from turn of the last century magazines and added some lace. Now this photo is from the original book. There was many illustrations in the book, so I think I've used all of them. There might be 1 or 2 that didn't get back in, but I made this nice journaling card. It just slides right in there. Some old composition book, and again I've made use of an illustration from a turn of the century magazine. So this opens this way. It's kind of a raggedy page. This is a book page, and it opens up. There's a little tea-dyed ledger page there, and this is a postcard, and I covered it with, do you know what? I don't think I made this. I think this was sent to me. And I'm not sure who sent it. I think it's one of 2 people, and I don't want to say. But if you made this, thank you. I have a home for it because it's so thin. I did make this little cluster here with the Red Riding Hood and the wolf. This is fascinating to me. So this is Alexandra Hospital, and it has a list of what probationary nurses were to bring with them. So they were to bring a pair of scissors, a napkin ring with your name engraved on it, 2 laundry bags, 18 by 30, as few articles in the way of knickknacks as possible. Black boots with rubber heels, only black boots allowed with uniforms. Now this reminds me of a story when I was training as a nurse back in the olden days. We had very old nurses who were our teachers, and one of them told me that she chose a specific hospital because the nursing staff wore black stockings, and the other hospital that she had an option to go to, they wore white stockings, and she wanted black stockings because she didn't have great legs. So this is some information about making aprons, and the hem had to be 4 inches deep, and 2 wash dresses of plain blue chambray or galatea, made according to the following directions. And here's the skirt, here's the waist. A good supply of plain underwear and stockings. I wonder how old this is. I mean, it's old. But yeah, that's original. I don't even know where it came from. Okay, I got a couple of different pages here, different envelopes here. I think I made this in a video because I remember doing some watercolor on that chicory there. And this is a library catalog card, and I've sewn some fabric to the back so something can be tucked in there. Some more collage to cover up the text. This is an image here that I fussy tore from one of those old magazines. This is an original illustration. Here's some antique lace that I've sewn to this text page as a pocket, and I've just stuck this little tag in there. Some more collage. This is an old letter. Oh, I left that open. We should put something in there. I'm quite fond of that picture, so I'm going to put that in there. Oh, do you want to see it? So I made this in my desk scraps challenge. That is a picture of Florence Nightingale and her sister. So this letter was from 1910 to the House of Commons in Ottawa, of course. An old receipt from 1940. This is a return envelope for Simpsons. You can kind of see it says Simpsons there, but the front was very faded. And the flap of the envelope is glued right in there. So that was the best I could do with it. So, but these shoes, they definitely look 30s, 40s. This is a tag that I made from Book Page. You can write on the back. It has some old wallpaper, genuine photo, and some old lace. And this flips open. It gives you places to journal here. Another illustration from a magazine. I love these little etchings. Original to the book, The Valley of the Rants. I covered up some text with some more assorted collage-y papers. This is knitted trim. Somebody hand knit that. Can you believe it? That's an old ticket from London, England. Yes, I did this in a video as well. This is a book page about, it's an illustration, or sorry, an advertisement for wigs. Here I have, this is a book page. I just glued it that way to make a pocket. And inside, this is an old photograph, and I just folded over. No, I didn't. I made a tab out of 2 postage stamps and ripped the top off. Okay, this comes out, so you can write it on the back as well as underneath, and then slides back underneath this photo from or not a photo, but images from a book about the history of fashion. It's an old invoice. This is an old letter from 1913. Memorandum from George Pattinson and Company, woolen manufacturers. It's from a book about nature. I guess I glued that down. Clock Tower at Dinan. Now this piece of lace is part of a sleeve. It was like a little cap sleeve. You can see where it was sewn into the shoulder. And inside I've just got this little text, or sorry, this little tag. You can flip it over. It's an old envelope. There's a little pocket there. You can tuck something in if you like. And I've just collaged some old newspaper and a fussy cut of some poppies. There. This is some book guts for some texture there. It's an old advertisement. This is not from the original book, but it's an illustration of Madame de Pompadour and the Duc de Richelieu. This is a French book. You can open that up, flip it open. This is from an old spelling book. This is a paper bag. Can tuck something in there. This opens up and you can write there or open this up. So this is from a 1919 diary and this is from 1945. Fussy cut that butterfly. His wings are free, but he's stitched down. This is a book page advertising Teacher's Pictorial Bible and Bible Dictionary and Cobbins Illustrated Family Bible. There's some places just right here, and this flips up, but it's a receipt from 1935. St. Malo. This is a postcard, and it's a portrait of Mrs. Mark Curry. I tea-dyed this square doily. There's some packing paper, and I stapled it down, and an illustration from an old magazine. This is a ledger page, and I love this music page. So these are just tiny snippets of music, and it's printed really small. So this was like an advertisement on the back page of a sheet music, so that people would buy these, try them out, and buy the sheet music. Just added a little scrap of paper here, and this is a page from a book, and it says Thompson, Christmas 89. So that would have been 1889. This is just a scrap of ledger. And there was a stamp here for an antique shop. So this book was in an antique shop at one time. This is very interesting. These little drawings were very common once upon a time. So this was the front page of an autograph album, and somebody hand drew that. I can't remember what that's called, but I've definitely seen it before. And this is attached to a train record. There's some crocheted lace. This is an old piece of magazine. Flips open. I just added this little piece from an encyclopedia. It flips up. This is an old piece of steno paper. And on this side, I put a couple of little eyelets and tied a piece of fabric through there. This is a little tag that I made from a scrap of postcard. This came from a book about fashion history. And there's another one of those postcards that somebody made for me. I think your name starts with a C. Illustration from the book. This is like a duplicate of an invoice. It has the little numbers here. I cut it down a bit and tore it, and this lifts right up. This came from a book, but I thought it looked really interesting through that like onion skin paper. This is some old lace. This came from a travel agency, and it flips up. I love this book page. The font is teeny tiny, but crisp. And this is dated 1887. This is a catalog page from the 1930s, I believe. I think there's a date on it somewhere. I will find out. So this is the order sheet. This came from an old book. And to reinforce it, I did a little bit of collage on that edge. This came from an old recipe book. And I've just glued that down to cover up the text of the original book. No. The text of a page from the fashion book. Okay, so this is the other side of that form. Spring 1931. There it is there. And just a little piece of tea-dyed accounting paper. This is an actual label from a Matchbox. I've just torn some paper and scrunched it up and inked it up. This is a statement from 1932, and I've decorated it with this picture of this lady in a little fussy cut. Covered it in some tea-dyed tissue. The oldest house in Auray. And on this side I have some hand crocheted lace. This came from an ancient book. This is rag paper. And you can stick something under there if you like, but it's stitched. This came from a book about flowers, clearly. And underneath, I've got an old book page. You can see where it's been torn out of the binding. This is a book about musical instruments, and it opens up. This also opens up. Look at the old tape there. So you can journal here, and it's all covered up. This came from an encyclopedia. So these are examples of Italian lace. This came from a flight book. What's it called? A flight log. I would have never come up with log. That's some old masking tape that I put there. This is a flyleaf from a book, and I've just decorated it a little. You can glue this down because this is firm enough to make a pocket. So if you glued two sides down. Morlaix, Anne of Brittany's house. This came from a diary. I can't remember the year. There's a stamp up there and some old lace. This is just some scraps of paper, and I just attached it with this brad, which is why the stamp is there. This is an old piece of rag paper. In that pocket, some old lace. Letter from 1910 to Canadian General Electric Company. Or from 1911. is the age of this invoice. And this, oh, I've got it pinned in there. Okay. This is from an almanac. These are tide tables. This is a postcard of Buckingham Palace, and it's just attached at the one end there, so you can tuck something behind it. And this here is a label, a tag from some fabric. That lifts up. Got a fussy cut of a flower, a little bit of lace there on the other side of that tag. Another photograph from the original book. This is some antique lace here. This envelope is tea-dyed and opens up. And I put some lace here just to tuck that into. This flips up as well. A little piece of paper to write on. Another illustration from that fashion book, History of Fashion book. That opens up. I believe this was a carbon copy page from a receipt book. Some wrapping paper. This is some vellum. Done a little collage here. You can tuck something in there. This is from a dictionary. These are just some little slips of paper. They can be torn off because they're perforated. And I just stamped some little flowers on there. This is from an old ledger book. You can barely read it. The Port of Danann. This came from an old appointment book. I've just put this little image there. I cut that from a book. This is from a steamship company in New Zealand. Some lace. I've got part of an old invoice, some tea-dyed coil-bound notebook paper, and this is an embroidery pattern. This little scrap came from an invoice, and I added this little fussy cut, and this is a grammar book, I believe. This came from a notebook which has these flowers printed in the corners. There's another little tuck spot. These are, I want to say primroses. Did it say? No. Those aren't primroses. I don't know what those are. But it's woodblock carving. Yeah, grammar. Effective English expression. This is an old something. From 1915 is the date there. Added a little piece of paper there to do some, maybe a list or something, and a fussy cut. Some of those flowers. Another old blank receipt. Saint Brianc Sabot Market. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Here, this is an old price tag. It's a piece of card, but I've just got it glued on the edge so it can be used as a tuck space. A 1952 envelope cover and a tea-dyed coil-bound notebook. And this is book page, and I've added some wallpaper. These little flowers are rub-ons, and a couple pieces of lace, and a genuine photo. And I liked how the orange of this matched the orange of the stamp. piece of lace. I did a little bit of stenciling there. This is just some notebook paper. I stitched on this little label. Another pocket, and this is old ledger. Oh, sorry, this is in the pocket. Lazy Daisy cake. And it's pretty grubby. I added a piece of tape there because there was a bend there, and I thought, oh, I'm going to lose that corner. This is a reproduction of a letter. I think it's a poem, actually. Sorry. White Lodge, Richmond Park. This came from a school book, a health textbook. This is some old, a cash book or something. This is an invoice from a bakery, clearly. This is an envelope, and I've got it attached, sewn to this seed catalog reply, the Dominion Seed House. And this is just a little place to journal. It's got, I cut the doily from a book that had rows and rows of numbers. Added a couple stamps there. And this is a letter from 1891. This is Eli. I've got a lot of letters for Eli. And they're talking about college, going to college. French novel. This is a scrap from an appointment book. And I saw this Hong Kong 1952 in a book. It was an inscription in a book, and I thought, I need to use that. So I did. Another street scene from the original book. Some lace. This is a genuine Denison label. Am I getting up there a little high? And I just stamped this tiny bird on it. This is some book page. Some old book page, and I just stitched on that little flap there. This is a journaling card that I made using an old envelope, and I've backed it with some book page. It just slides into this little pocket I made. This is a book page, and I think this was from the Golden Jubilee, Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee. There's another pocket there. Just some collage that I did. You can journal on the back. Book page. This came from a book about birds, clearly, and I added a little bit of lace, and that opens up. This came from an old lady's home journal. I fussy cut her. Some book page from a French novel, and I did a little bit of stenciling there. This says A Chateau from the original book. This photo here, I don't know if you remember, I think it was last summer I did this stitching by hand. This was something I did, I think it was in grade 5 or 6 in an art class, and I never forgot that and how lovely it turned out. And that's just from stitching straight lines. Another little journaling piece I stuck there. That's French novel behind. Aren't these interesting cancellation marks? Some packing paper. I added some old masking tape and some stamps. This is a page from the Leisure something. So it's, I'm not sure. I did this in a video. This image here, it says "Kiss Me." Open it up, and there's a page about moths. That opens up. And this is from a children's book. A little bit of tissue there. The Leisure Hour, that's what it was. This is from 1888. I love the engraving there. Some hand crocheted lace. Here is another lady. Well, she's a child from the original book. And on the back, this is an altered envelope. I did this some time ago, and there's places to journal there. It has a little collage of lace. And this is from a junk mail envelope. And it slides right in there. And there we are at the back cover. So that was a very long flip through. And I know we didn't take as close a look at everything as we might have, but there was a lot to get through. I would say this is largely a journaling book. And I would say there's roughly 200 pages when you factor in, like, for example, you know, that's 2 pages, that's 2 pages, you know, the pages that tip out and things like that. Another beautiful engraving. So this journal is in my Etsy shop now. If it's something that you're interested in turning into a number of other journals in your collection, maybe. Or maybe this is going to be your first journal. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm excited to start on the next project. My desk is clear because we did 2 days of scrap challenges. So come back again soon and see what's coming up next. Take care. We'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.